Let's talk about the biggest developments in college football recruiting from over the weekend. I'm going to get right into it. Really good article up on the front page of on3.com from Pete Nakos, a.k.a. Pocket Watching Pete, back at it again. So this is cool. Pete spoke anonymously with personnel staffers and NIL collectives across Power 4 programs. Let's get into it. Who spent the most on the portal? It wasn't just traditional big brands like Tennessee, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas. We also saw some newbies get involved, especially Clemson. They got busy in the portal this year. Texas Tech, they were big spenders. FSU, Miami, even Nebraska brought out the bags when it came to the transfer portal this year. So who was the highest paid player in the portal? Couple different answers here, but a few sources repeated the same names. Quarterback is definitely where the money went. That's clear. Carson Beck, he got a few million. We know that Pete was on here saying it was in the $2.5 to $3 million range. We got a couple GMs and NIL collectives saying that Carson Beck was the highest, but this one's really surprising to me. Duke quarterback transfer Darian Mensah may have been, yes, Duke, bringing out the big bags when it comes to the quarterback position, at least, may have been the highest paid transfer this offseason. It sounds like he inked a deal for at least $3 million to play at Duke in 2025. Also worth noting, South Carolina broke out the big checkbook for Lenora Sellers. I know that's why he didn't go in the portal. So this is talking about portal spending. Well, you also got to spend to retain, and it's not official, but it sounds like he too could be in that $3 million range for 2025. Pete Nakos then asked, what was the craziest ask that you had from a transfer? This SEC NIL anonymously said that requests are getting pretty preposterous. I don't doubt that, but hey, you can ask for anything. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you might as well ask, right? So this SEC NIL collective said athletes asking for $100,000 on top of the deal. They want a car, they want furnished 3-bedroom townhome, and they said, why don't you pay us $100,000 also to cover our taxes too? I mean, that's a good one. I'm going to ask my boss for that one. ACC NIL collective said, we have had some asks for $2.8 million, 2 cars for $200,000, and living in transportation taken care of. And no, they didn't fulfill that, but like I said, you might as well ask. A Big 12 personnel staffer said, everybody asks for cars. Cars grow on trees, apparently, and it's normally about $50,000 for a car. Again, you might as well ask for it, right? Does any of this surprise you? It doesn't really surprise me, but these are the things that were in Pete Nakos' article. Actually, the article went on to describe a lot of behind-the-scenes kind of comings and goings of what's happening with NIL, so go check that out, front page of on3.com. All right, next topic. We saw another major reclassification this weekend. Big news. Dropped on Friday. Ethan Booby Feaster is no longer the number 1 wide receiver in the 2027 class. No, he announced he's moving up a year to the 2026 class. Quote, I saw Ryan Williams do it, Feaster said. Quote, that was the biggest thing. I felt like I can do it. I felt like I was ready for college, end quote. So we're seeing a trend here. And this time next year, Feaster will likely be signed and enrolled at college. So he just turned, I think he's only 15 right now. Next year at this time, he will have signed and likely be an early enrollee somewhere. So we got about 10 months for this recruitment. And he is the 3rd number 1 recruit at his respective position to reclassify up from 2027 to 2026. So Booby Feaster, number 1 wide receiver. Mark Bowman from Modern Day in California, number 1 tight end. He moved himself up. Xavier Crowell, number 1 running back from Jackson, Alabama. He moved himself up. So what we are seeing here is the new normal. And last month, Feaster talked with On3 about the program's highest in his recruitment, and he said, quote, I can say Oregon for sure, LSU, Texas, Texas A&M, USC, Tennessee, those are the ones that are big. Now, Feaster has already set one official. That'll be for USC on June 6th. I expect more officials to be set, and his recruitment is taken off. All right, next topic. 3rd time's a charm. After decommitting from FSU last summer, Jaelen Waters flipped to UF on June 15th. He's been committed to UF since then, but there's been some rumors about the Miami Hurricanes. And then Waters, a top 150 DB from Armwood High School in Tampa, He decommitted from UF this weekend after the news of DB coach Will Harris leaving UF for Miami. And guess who's trending now? Yep, Miami. And we're only 2 weeks into the 2026 cycle, but Waters is closing in quickly on a third commitment. I'm going to talk to Azubi Charles from Canes Point more about it, but this one sounds like he's about to complete the trifecta from FSU to UF, and he's currently trending to Miami. So we'll see how this DB class ends up for Miami now that Will Harris is there and Zach Etheridge. They are taking over. They are flipping this room. The Canes now trending at over 50% for Waters. But will it be his last commitment? He's on to number 3 here soon with about 10 months left in the cycle. Who knows? All right. Next up, number 1 running back cuts his list of schools. Savion Hyder told Hayes Fawcett that he's got a top 4 that includes Michigan, Ohio State, Georgia, and Tennessee. So I'm looking at this, and it's in no order. He just said those are the schools that are in his top 4. But if I had to dig a little deeper, I'd probably put Michigan out front right now with maybe Georgia or Ohio State in that 2 spot. But I do not think a commitment is coming right now because he's got official visits on tap. Ohio State, May 30th. Georgia is locked in for June 6th. Michigan will come the weekend of June 13th. And Tennessee is slated for June 20th. So what do you guys think? Who leads for the number 1 running back in America? Let me know.